Hi, and welcome to the UNAS Midwatch podcast. Thanks for listening. If you're enjoying our podcast and would really like to help us out, please subscribe and leave a review wherever you are listening. It really does help us grow our audience. If you are on Facebook or Instagram, head on over and subscribe and follow us so you never miss an episode. We also have a Patreon available, so you can help us keep this podcast going. Just look us up and become part of the UNAS today. Now sit back and enjoy the show. So anyways, like I said, I got an email from my folks, and it turns out my great-grandma has got a boo now. Boo-thinging it up in the trailer park home. It's
really hot.
Yeah.
Hey man, old people need loving too.
I agree, and I'm the only one out of my family that agrees. And they're like, well, my mom, being traditional, she was like, they need to get married. They have to get married. I was like, no, they don't. She's 87 years old.
Been there, done that. Who cares?
Yeah. Grandma's done that like 3 times.
Just complicates everything else.
Well,
especially at that age.
I was going to say,
right?
At that age, getting married is just stupid.
Like, can you imagine all the legal docs to follow?
Yeah. You also have to think about, are they mentally capable of making this decision?
And how
are
old
they
is
all
she?
there? She's 87.
Yeah.
I mean,
have
it's
heard,
just-
though, so is the whole trailer park like a assisted living home?
No, it's just
It's a trailer
people's
park.
trailer park.
Well, I mean,
where-
it's old people.
Yeah.
Because I know,
You have to be at least 65 to move in there.
oh yeah, but I heard that those places, whether it's an apartment complex, the condo rentals, whatever, but essentially they become like a hotbed for
Orgies?
STDs because they're just all sleeping
Yeah.
around with each other.
Not this place. It's a little bit more classy than that. He didn't even live in this place. They
Oh,
moved.
so he's an outsider.
Yeah.
So he's
Coming
bringing
in to find
in
some
the
strange.
orgies.
Yeah.
Got it.
Hey, you gotta like
They had
buzz
to
on your
outsource
face.
that peen, man.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Was it bothering you?
yeah, it was. It's not about. I thought it might have been about companionship. Apparently, it's not, because my dad walked in on them banging. Just 2 raisins slapping skin, and
Knocking the dust off
Yeah.
that old
No.
JJ.
Could you imagine just looking, you see an ass the shape of a frog with its legs stretched out?
so I was like,
All droopy and shit.
they're like, what do we even call this? We can't even call him Grandpa. Can't even do anything like that. I was like, no, he's not our grandpa. It's our
He turns around and looks straight at your dad. Hey, slugger.
Hey, Slick, can you give us a minute?
Champ.
So I was like, what do we call that? And I coined the term, depends with benefits.
Sweet Jesus.
It's gross.
That's at least it's there to clean
It's
up. You don't have to grab a towel or
Oh,
a shirt.
but yeah. So anyways, what's up, guys?
Well, and what'd you say? Like, are they mentally capable of being able to get married and all that?
Yeah,
stuff?
well,
One
at
of
a
the
certain
questions?
point, like, you have to realize that you're not going to have all your mental capacity. Because some people don't focus on keeping their brain sharp when they reach a certain age.
Well,
And-
if we're going to be 100% honest here, you could probably apply that to 18-year-olds as well.
Yeah, I definitely foresee gamers today being mentally incompetent by the time they're 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're going to have really good hand-eye coordination.
Hand-eye coordination will be off the charts.
So they can catch
Or
a
they'll
tennis
have
ball.
carpal
Yeah.
tunnel from playing all those video games.
Yeah,
And
they're all going to have,
their
like,
hands are going to be all like crinkled up.
the nana hands.
No.
I wonder if they are.
Especially computer gamers. I think computer gamers will be actually worse than console gamers.
Why?
Well, I mean, you spend all day on a computer anyways, and then you go home and
All the
Computer
keyboard
game, too.
clicking.
Well, not to mention if you're holding a controller and you're sitting in a chair or on a couch or something, you can really adjust how you want to be sitting.
yeah.
Keyboard and mouse, you have to have a very specific way with your like wrists bent and doing all the stuff.
even with the advances in keyboards nowadays, with like how they're turned and half keyboards on one side, half keyboards on the other, and the mouses are, the thumb ball mouses. And
I did see the other day a half keyboard that just had the WASD, and then on the side of it had a joystick for the thumb.
Yeah.
So that you could do like certain games like that. It's like, oh, it's pretty smart.
See, I think as technology advances, we'll find different means of doing that, and eventually one day it'll just be a holographic wink twice to capitalize a letter, whatever, Minority Report style, and we'll also have medical advances to stop the carpal tunnel or something like that. But with gamers and their like extra firing synapses, I don't know if I agree with the
I do.
faculty breakdown.
Because being that I've been a gamer for so long, games are not getting harder. They're actually getting easier. The mindlessness of it. Think about all the popular games right now. Minecraft, Fortnite, Roblox, Call of Duty. There's no thinking involved. It's just
it's a lot of
pointing and clicking.
Quick twitch reaction to a lot of stuff.
There's no thinking. There's no puzzles to solve.
That's true. Those are the games I'm used to.
It's like Resident Evil Village.
Like have you gone back and
game.
tried to play Contra recently? The old Nintendo game Contra?
Not like recently,
It's
but
fucking hard.
it is really hard.
Yeah.
Like really hard.
That's
can't
what I
get
like
past
about-
like the first level without the little cheat.
Well, and back in the
99
day, too, a
lives.
lot of those games that got put in arcades were built and coded around just eating quarters.
Yeah.
So they were meant to be as hard as humanly possible, but addictive for you to keep putting your quarters in the machine.
Yeah.
That's true, but even just walking through the store a number of weeks ago when I went home for the weekend, me and my son went out to the store. There was Mario Brothers, and I'm like, oh, son, watch this. See how cool I am. Thinking in 2.5 minutes I'm going to beat this level.
Oh, I
And
thought we were
even-
talking about your sex life. All right, go ahead.
Why would
Yeah,
his son
that's
be
a
there?
long time.
Son, watch this move.
Hey,
Hey, champ.
he is.
Hey, slugger. Either way, I died numerous times, and it was not easy.
Or even looking back at games like that where you had a certain amount of lives before the game was just over.
Yeah, like you could not continue over too. Like you had to start from the beginning, which is
Or a
good.
checkpoint.
Not even like back then. There was no checkpoints. It was you have X amount of lives to get as far as you possibly can, and if you don't, you start over. And then, like even the Resident Evil, the new one that just came out, Resident Evil's always been about storytelling and solving puzzles. I beat that game in like 2 days. It was so freaking easy.
It was fun, but there wasn't really puzzles.
It was visual. It was cool. You had to go to one place to get something, to open up something. And then, but that was about it.
It definitely had a very Metroidvania feel to it.
Yeah, it was not good. I liked it. It was visual.
That's another fucking hard game. Metroid.
Metroid,
Metroid.
Mega Man.
Mega Man.
Remember how hard Mega Man was?
Castlevania back in the day.
Castlevania.
Symphony in the Night.
Golden Axe.
Oh, Golden Axe.
I thought you were going to say Golden Eye for a second.
Altered
Really,
Beast.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, if you tried to go back and play something like GoldenEye with the old Nintendo 64 controller now, after being used to using 2 thumbsticks, and instead you only have the one for the left, and you have to use the fucking face buttons to look around in the other,
The directional pad.
completely will mess you up.
Yep. And the lag between your input to actual
Yeah.
motion on the game.
It's like I'm so spoiled now with like how far technology's gone. Like you look back at some of the older games and they're running at like 15 frames per second, and you're like, I can't even like understand what's happening right now. Or like the resolution is terrible, but as a
My
kid,
eyes are
you
too
remember
fast
it
for
being
this.
amazing. You know, like even if I'm playing on PC now, if I see like the frames drop below 60 frames per second, I'm like, I'm done with this game.
Well, it's exactly what the
My
point
life
of this
is-
all
this
is,
is
right?
ridiculous.
It's like we just want more and easier and faster. We don't want harder. We want to be able to beat Resident Evil in 2 days. We don't want to put in the effort to make a 80-hour game into an 80-hour game. We just want that 20-hour game max
Instant
with-
gratification.
with multiplayer, and that's it.
Well, and it's fair, too, because there's been a lot of games that have come out that are super long, that are great games, and I have never finished.
Like
Because
Elder
I'll get
Scrolls.
like 60 rounds in. Elder Scrolls I finished, but like The Witcher 3.
But did
The
you
Witcher
do
3 I
100%?
only finished one time, the main storyline, because it was so damn long.
Did you do Elder Scrolls to 100% though?
Skyrim?
Like everything, yeah.
So, well, some of the other games you might be able to on one run, but Skyrim you cannot 100% on one run because there's certain decisions you have to make. And all that.
Yeah.
But to get all the achievements on something like that, holy shit.
I've got like 140 hours on Skyrim.
You know what I'll tell you? Me and my wife had this conversation the other day. I am completely over as a gamer is looter shooters. I'm so over the, like, every time you level up, now all your stuff is obsolete. You got to get new stuff. And now there's also color tiers to everything. And, you know, you could be shooting this dude in the face and it does literally nothing to him because now your stuff's not good anymore. You know, like, that whole, like, I used to be really into that back in the day, and now I can't really play those types of games anymore.
Like Assassin's Creed?
Assassin's
that.
Creed I can still play because, like,
Storyline.
Valhalla had a great story, and then their version of a loot grind I can get behind because you're leveling up a certain amount of gear that you keep for the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, you can take one piece of gear in the very beginning and use that through the entire game. You just level it up.
Yeah.
Vice, other stuff like Borderlands, as much as I loved Borderlands, like, was a great example of, like, you could have this amazing gun at level 22, and then as soon as you hit level 23, they're like, yeah, that gun's trash now. You know, and
I was
you're
never a fan of
constantly
Borderlands.
swapping for stuff.
They are making a movie.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
gonna be weird.
Borderlands movie.
That'll
Is
probably
it going to be
terrible.
like Mad Max? That's what I envision it being like.
I don't know what it's going to be like. I think Colin Farrell's signed off.
Oh, God.
There's somebody else that was supposed to play Maxie. I can't remember her name, though, right now.
Maxie?
The chick.
Mad Moxie?
That, too. Like I said, I didn't play it. But I saw the report that they are making it. I also saw the report that they're not making a God of War movie, which is disheartening.
I saw some reports for a while there that Triple H was in talks of playing Kratos. And that actually would have been pretty cool if it would have been like a God of War 4 style Kratos.
Yeah, they're not
Old grizzled dad.
talking about it anymore. But I did see some things about the next God of War coming out, so I'm pretty excited about that.
How about the new Evil Dead movie?
There's a new Evil Dead.
Now,
They
finally,
just-
something I can talk
They
about.
just
I've been
announced
listening.
that they are going to do a new Evil Dead movie. Evil
Yeah.
Dead
Is it
2.
going to have Ash or is it going to be just new people?
Nope. Bruce Campbell is going to be in it.
Yeah. With the popularity of Ash versus the Evil
Yes.
That was pretty good, yeah.
Dead. Yeah. I think it was what's great about it is like they were going in like his biggest goal in life was to get to Jacksonville, Florida. Just hilarious.
So, does that have any relation to Army of the Dead? Army of the Evil Dead?
Evil Deads, yeah. Not the new Evil Dead. Old Evil Deads.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked
not,
about
not
the
the
new
teens remake.
No.
No.
So, what's the relation of? I mean, I know I've seen the movie, but Army of the Dead. What's the relation there?
To Evil Dead? Nothing.
0.
Oh, you're talking about the new one? That,
The Zack Snyder one, right?
Right.
Yeah, no relation.
Wait, have you guys seen that yet?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, we all.
Yeah, we've had a discussion about this.
Yeah, we already talked about it last week. Shut up. Anyways, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, like, what the correlation is.
There's
Well, those are two different universes.
Yeah. Army of Dead
Yeah.
has nothing to do with Evil Dead.
He was mixing up, I think, Army of Darkness.
Yeah, so
okay.
that's what
So,
I
yeah.
thought. Like, we have
So
Evil
was the
Dead
second
to
Evil Dead
Army
movie, I
of
think,
Darkness to Army of the Dead. Like, I thought it was just a marriage of the names, and I'm like,
No, that universe is like the Dawn of the Dead universe.
yeah,
which makes sense to the
Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead.
The Evil Dead movies are...
They're based
Oh,
around
okay.
demons, not a virus.
So yeah, I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
or
Evil
a
Dead
book
is
that
pretty good.
bites you if you stick your hand on its cover.
Klaatu, Verata.
And to
There.
this day, that
I said
original
it.
Evil Dead was always the one that scarred me the most as a child. I know I talked about that once.
I will eat your
The
soul.
eyes.
Even though it was like a horror comedy. But
So
yeah.
originally it was supposed to be a horror, but when it got filmed and came out, it was so cheesy and so campy that they were like, All right, well, we know the direction we're going for in the second one.
Yep.
It's like they're having the debut in the theater and people are laughing and they're like,
Yeah, exactly.
The director's getting mad because like nobody's taking my movie seriously.
Test audiences were Sam Raimi. Test audiences were thinking this was a comedy.
And he's doing the remake, the Evil Dead
Oh,
remake.
Perfect.
The Evil Dead 2.
Who?
Yeah.
Sam Raimi?
And Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Where did he just walk off?
I don't. Yeah.
I think he mumbled something and ripped ass and walked away because it smells
Maybe
a
he
little
sharded.
gross. Oh, there he is.
There.
Oh, he's
What's
back.
up, man?
You
Would
okay?
you
It was a coffee emergency.
Oh, you sharded?
Oh,
It was questionable.
Okay.
That's 100% fair.
yeah.
It just feels like we went out on Liberty all day here in Texas. Hot, sweltering sun.
It is
So just
a touch warm.
It is touch warm.
It's one of
I
those.
honestly wish there was a way we could snuggle together and cool down, kind of like reverse
Kleptothermia.
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 Yeah, like a reverse of that.
That makes sense.
I want to be able to snuggle together and cold.
So, like, when you get those fancy beds that
Do you know what
cool
kleptothermia is?
No.
Look it up.
I hate all of you.
I've always thought that it was weird that you need to cuddle to warm up. Like if you have hypothermia, the idea to get naked or strip down at least is better for you. I just think that is so strange.
It's better for you if you're
well,
wet.
if you're wet.
If you're
Yeah.
wet.
Well, yes, but
Because
Giggity.
the cold, wet clothes will keep you cold.
even if you're clothed, right, that skin to skin contact is still
Well, yeah, the heat transfer is faster skin to skin, vice through some kind of barrier like clothes.
I find it very odd.
I.e., when it's warm in my room at night, my wife wants to cuddle in bed, and I'm like, get the fuck away from me, you furnace.
So, yeah.
Or
it's
my
like a
grandma
heat
and
exchanger.
her new boyfriend.
Yep, that too.
Well, they're probably cold because their blood flow's not so good.
True.
Or you can take his extra sack skin and wrap it around her feet. So that way it just
Oh.
Gross, man.
God.
Here, let me make you a little foot blanket with my ball sack.
And in turn, he's like, my shoulders are cold.
As
She's
sitting
like,
there-
here
as
you go.
she's sitting there
flop.
with her feet like moving them back and forth,
Pitter
massaging his
pattering.
balls.
he just bat wings it around her.
It's like kneading dough.
It looks like a moccasin that you see during some.
Gross.
Yep. Well, I want to vomit.
You miss some hair on that skin.
I missed you guys.
So how'd your little fart
Yeah.
study go?
How'd your ass blowing go?
Well, apparently, it's completely normal.
Yeah,
I
it is.
was kind of panicking because I thought maybe there was something wrong. But
there is.
the doctor, when I was talking to him, was like, I mean, think about it, man. You're taking in extra air and oxygen than you would normally be taking in.
Yeah,
An excess level, it's going to continuously pump. Gotta go somewhere. I was
But-
like, I guess that makes sense.
farting just straight air is one thing. That makes sense. But you talk to him about the horrificness of it. Like that air is not going around some built-up turd in your intestine. It is going through there, like an impacted intestine, like John Wayne's 16 pounds of meat buildup.
Chris, I don't know if you understand how the human body works, but there's only one path from the mouth all the way down. It's
No,
gonna
I
have to
understand
pass those
that.
things.
From
But
mouth
when you
to
have-
anus.
When you
Human
have
centipede.
the bubbliness of it, where each wind gust breaks open a new bubble that just releases the atomized methane. Like there's something wrong
Getting
with you,
science.
dude.
So
Scientifically,
here's the funniest
probably
thing about
diet.
it. Here's the funniest thing about it when I asked the doctor. I was
You
like,
asked the
Yeah.
doctor.
I was like, I don't understand like why the gas is basically like I rip ass and it's like these fucking thunder farts, right? And essentially, and this made me physically uncomfortable when he said it. But he was like, "Listen, man, I'm just gonna break it down for you like this. You know how sometimes if you're having like sex with your wife or something, and air gets in there, and they got to do that like queef thing, right? Get the extra air out." I was like, "Okay." He was like, "Your butthole is essentially queefing."
I can
Wait, so
respectfully say that's
you
probably
have
true.
your CPAP hooked up to your asshole? That's what I just
So-
got out of that.
I thought after the farts started that the other hose made sense to me. I was supposed to hook up back there. Apparently not the right decision. I was like, well, the farts, yeah, they make sense. There's nothing pulling the air out. Maybe I need to hook up the other side. And he slapped me on the nose and said bad.
That's sound logic. Very
It's
sound
like
logic.
To me,
Like
that
a
made sense.
siphoning pump. Like
Yeah, I was like,
gasoline.
well, because he was like, well, when the air's going down your throat,
in the middle of the night going.
to me, I said, well, the air is going down my throat. Like I said, it needs to come out. So if I have a hose going in, I should probably have a hose coming out.
So you're thinking like this is one of those snot suckers for children? You just throw in a filter so you don't get shitty mouth?
What's
Like-
that movie, Idiocracy? Put this one in your ear, this one in your mouth, this one in your butt. Oh, wait, wrong. Put this one in your ear, this one. Yeah.
Well, thankfully, I never mixed them up. But yeah, apparently that was the wrong way to do things.
So here's something you might want to look into.
Okay.
I found out that people that have CPAPs, there's a new method for not having to use the hose anymore, but still kind of not curing, but helping sleep apnea. So there's an incision that they make in like up in your throat area and then down by your chest area. What it does is there's a battery in your chest, and then it sends the electrical signal to the node in your throat, which is connected to a nerve in your tongue.
What the?
Every day we go further and further from God.
Connected to the
Yeah.
bone.
So what it does is in the middle of the night, or not in the middle of the night, before you go to sleep, you take this little remote, you put it in your chest where the node is, and you hit start, and it turns it on. So when you breathe in, it automatically sends that signal to your tongue, and it constricts your tongue so it stays taut. A lot of people who have sleep apnea, their tongue falls back in their throat. That's why they snore, and that's why they're like that. So instead of having to force air down there to keep it open, this forces your tongue to stay taut when you breathe in, so you can essentially get away from having the hoses in the mask.
So we're just one step closer to being cyborgs.
And we're one
yeah.
step closer to that. Essentially sounds like Viagra, but for your tongue.
Kind of, but not all the time.
Viagra.
Wait a minute, hold on. We might be onto something with this. I wonder if you could market that into
believe it's
being
already
in
marketed.
the balls, so that it makes the penis taut. You
Yeah,
could
but
just
that's
like
blood
you just
flow
like
versus
press.
a muscle
Yeah,
twitch.
this is that's blood flow, and they already have that for the Wang.
Wait, do they?
Yeah, you can get it installed. It's like a pump, and the button is actually like inside in your inner thigh, and you basically push it to get things going. It makes it hard, and then you go to work, and then when you're done, you push the button and it releases.
How hard is it to push this button? I can imagine.
Yeah, wait a minute.
I can imagine.
I have
you're
so
right
many
in the middle
follow-on
of it, the button
questions.
Just
Yeah,
keeps getting
you go on a
fucking
bike
pushed.
ride and
Like you go from like you're like pushing rope every other stroke, you know.
Yeah, like so,
And how quickly
that's
does
the
it
thing.
go up versus down? Is it an instantaneous thing?
So, and then they've had a lot of success with it, and it was like, just as I'm hearing this guy talk about it, nurse walks up. She's like, yeah, Mr. blah, blah, blah. We got him. He was doing about 40 instances per hour. The instances are when you stop breathing, and that's a pretty high number. And they got him all the way down to 10, sleeping on his back.
75% improvement.
yeah, but that's what she's saying, trying to pawn this stuff off,
That's
right?
what she said.
But this
I
was,
know,
she
like-
wasn't pawning it off. This is just like nurses talking.
Yeah, but a lot of those guys are like catered to, and
They take a cut.
yeah, like, hey, let me buy you lunch, doctor. Why don't you start prescribing my medicine?
Again, not doctors. These were like people at reception.
I don't know. I feel like with the increase of certain types of diseases and increase of like sleep apnea where more people have it than not, then hey, this technological advance, right? Have this battery controlled remote installed near your chest. I think that is just one way to market it, get people to be on a machine, and then boom, maybe a electrical current happens or some sort of mechanical defect, and then we wipe out all those patients for population control.
I
It's
think
a government
that
conspiracy.
you are mixing that up with pacemakers. That already exists.
And
Yeah.
that's part of the brainwashing, is you're justifying it, trying to downplay my opinion here.
But those
And
are two different
that's
things,
the
Chris.
Start of it.
The
Your
other
opinion
one's
is shit,
actually
Chris.
hooked up to your heart.
No, correct. I get it.
Now, what if they have the
That just
pacemaker
makes you
and
more
the breathing thing?
And
comfortable
the
for
erection
this.
machine, all at once. Since it's up by your heart, it just pumps blood directly from your heart into your.
I
Now
still
your
have-
blood
I
has
still have
nothing
so
to
many
pump
questions about the
and
erection
collapses.
machine.
The thing is, these
Booyah.
are all little things that just dabble in it to make you more
That's a Cyborg
comfortable.
reference.
And if you're comfortable with the heart, then of course you would be okay with your chest
And your dick.
until it's time. Exactly. You notice how heart medicine came first because people are very skeptical about dick meds. They're like, oh, I don't want to mess around with that. Something might go wrong.
Speaking of which,
I can
I
lose
don't
my
know-
heart, but my dick, nope.
I don't know if we've ever had this conversation before or not, but it blows my mind that there is not male birth control. Like just a pill you can take every day that like makes you infertile.
Wow. I don't know.
I'm sure it exists.
It doesn't yet,
Absolutely.
as far as I know, because I've kept my eye out for that.
There's-
I would totally take male birth control.
They have
if it was a
chemical
thing.
castration.
Yeah, there's chemical castration.
But
which
that's a
is just
permanent thing. You mean just like
cutting it off.
Yeah, it's
Kill
like
the-
it's like a girl taking birth control. They can take it for a couple months, and then if they want to have a kid, they just stop taking it.
and then get rid of all your dead stuff and let your body reenact.
Yeah, think about
Like
it.
the
You
new
just
stuff?
jerk off, get all the dead ones out of there, repopulate with clean ones.
Your fucking cum comes out fucking black because they're all dead.
Blech.
Like you know the medicine's
It, like,
working.
smells.
You know the medicine's working if it comes out looking like goopy snot when you have the flu.
Like the infectious ooze of some boil on the back of some old man.
So I'm going to wash this conversation from our palates. Let's go get sodas.
Sounds good.
Yes.
I can't believe you just stopped our conversation. On
Oh,
that.
I can. We needed this conversation to stop. All right. Drew, you're flying.
Okay.
Yeah, man, you owe us.
All right. Fine.
Like a lot.
Well, I'll tell you right now. Like I don't know how it was for you guys when you were in
Hey,
school.
shut the fuck up. Where's our drinks?
Right here.
Give them here.
Oh, sorry. Here you go, buddy.
Thanks.
There you go. Where's Chris at?
Thanks, man.
I think he
got
had to
up
run
and
off
left
to
in a
go
hurry.
dookie again.
Anyways, I don't know how it was when you guys were in high school, but for me, I have always been into curvy, voluptuous women, right? When I was in high school, though, skinny chicks were the thing. Like, if you had any butt, or any hips, or any thighs, like, most dudes looked at you like you were unattractive. And I always liked the thick girls, you know? So, like, when we're talking, like, the Angelina Jolie thing, like, you know, I think she's very pretty, but yeah,
She's not.
in the Eternals trailer and stuff like that, like she's very, very skinny, which
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of my high school years because that was what a lot of guys looked for. And I don't know, I always had an appreciation for the thickness, so it makes me happy that nowadays like thick girls are starting to become more accepted, attractive wise.
Oh,
Some thick thighs
The-
save lives. You know?
We're coming full circle back from like the early to mid 19th or 20th century where that was a thing. Where
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thicker girls were more attractive than skinnier. Then obviously when high fashion and all that started coming, you started seeing the super skinny supermodels walking the runway, and that became
I don't know. Just the unachievable beauty standards that we set forth for women, especially, I think really messes with their heads when they're younger. And it's all on us. It's our fault.
It is. You got to think. If you think about like the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, like supermodels and all that was like at its peak,
Mm-hmm.
and it has since died off. Like now, you see commercials with normal-sized women, normal-looking women, and you rarely see the ones with like the super hot, skinny.
Well, like
Victoria's
a
Secret
great
models.
example is literally my entire life, before I even knew like what I was actually looking at, I always had a thing for girls with hips and ass, like a big, nice butt.
Well,
I
you're
never liked like the flat butt skinny chicks.
5'2", both height and width, so you kind of need that.
5'7".
Okay,
5'2" on the
5'7".
width, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, times have changed.
Yeah, it's just weird, you know.
That rap song, I like big butts and I cannot lie, it kind of changed a lot of things. Like, people looked at different things on different women. Some people like different things.
Maybe it's just my perception because I grew up with so many sisters, but most of what society does to other females when it comes to like body shape and size is not guys. It's other females.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, they do it to each other, but we have set that standard because that's the way we feel women should look. And it starts at a young age, and women just take that and then they rag on each other because...
Whatever.
And like he was saying, this is not new. This
Yeah.
is just a rotating thing that we do to ourselves.
And this scrutiny will always be there until humans have the singular conscience where everyone... So if you could feel everyone on Earth's feelings at the same time...
Be a lot of feelings.
It would be, but all the bad stuff would stop. Because you would feel the same way they did.
However, along kind of the same note, I think the greatest thing that has happened body positivity-wise in this world is the acceptance of the dad bod.
It's not the look of a dad bod, it's the attitude that goes with the dad bod. It's the, I work out, but I also drink beer. Now, if you're just a guy who doesn't work out, and you just sit around and drink beer, there's a misconception here. Like, you can't not work out and have a dad bod. You have to be the guy who works out and has a gut.
Now, I know this won't apply to Leon, because he's a young, strapping man with a six-pack abs. However, when was the last time that you went home, looked at people you went to school with?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, if you look at the popularity scale, when I was in high school, most of the, like, super popular people are fucking giant pieces of shit now.
Yeah.
And the middle of the pack people and below are all super successful.
Yeah, because they kept achieving.
They
and
peaked in high
kept
school.
Working hard. Those high school peakers, they stop.
Yep.
Because
It is weird
that is
to
the
see
greatest time that they had in their lives. And it goes with this whole body complex thing that we do to each other. High school is like the perfect example of why we do this to each other, because we don't know anything, so all we do is just rag on each other's looks. So then that carries on in life. So all those people that were doing the bullying in high school now think they're like owed stuff when they get older, and it's just things are just going to be handed to us, right? But the people, middle of the pack people, the guys that joined the military and got out of their hometown, are way more successful at life.
Although most of the super hot chicks, though, just being super hot will make you successful most of the time in life, though. That most of them have been really successful.
Dude,
yeah.
There's so many girls I went to high school with that were super, super hot and beautiful and smart and all those things that still crashed and burned. Now, granted, I come from a town where meth is a very big thing. So,
We can tell.
you know, fuck you.
As he fucking scratches his arm.
Yeah.
Brushing his 3 teeth.
But anyways, it's just funny to me because, like, you know, you go home on leave, and I come from a small town, like I said, and everybody's still drinking at the same bar, telling the same high school stories, you know.
Wearing their leather jacket.
Like, yeah, when you see a dude in his 30s or 40s still wearing his Leatherman's jacket from high school, you're like, bro, what are you doing right
Those are the same people that wear cruise jackets. Or like ship shirts all the time.
Like, even when you think about, like, your military experience, like, there's so many times that I'm like, you know, I haven't really lived that exciting of a life.
Like getting lost in a foreign country, shit-faced in the middle of the night.
100%.
Yep.
Well, and
Get-
also
getting
you got
a
to think
lot
about it.
lizard.
Like, you have those people back home telling their stories, right? And then you have your stories. Like, you're telling your stories, and yes, we've heard you talk about going back home and running with that guy down the end of your driveway a couple times because we know you, and your stories are boring, and that's because we all have the same freaking stories. right? But then you go home and all of a sudden you're a big fish in a small pond and you've done things outside, the town limits. Jesus, dude, are you back? How is your butt?
It hurts.
You need to take some of those little brown pills that don't make you shit.
Maybe you should sleep with a CPAP, because when you go in there to take your shit, man, all that extra force coming out.
Maybe you need to be like a depends with benefits. Stand a proper watch, shit, mate.
Anyways, like I was saying,
NAS, mate.
with the working out thing, especially, like, I don't know if I've ever told you guys this story, but I was talking to a buddy who wanted to join the UNAS, and he's in his like late 20s. And I was like, all right, man, yeah, when we come home, we'll work out together or something.
I literally just said it.
I guess that's a great example.
You got him down at the end of the driveway, and he was breathing heavy.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'll save us 30 minutes. There we go.
The best part about that, though, is I have heard him tell that story at the bar, and he out-PT'd me.
Of course.
Of course. It's just one of those great examples where you're like,
I mean, if he
someone
was out
else
of
in the
breath-
room was at the thing. Like those are
True.
my favorite stories.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with that one. He was out of breath before you, so technically...
Yeah, he was exerting more energy.
Words
or
have meaning.
worth more effort.
But that's also one of my other favorite things, and we run into that all the time with military, of like when someone's telling a story and you were there for that event and you can hear them changing the words and changing how things happen, you're just looking at them like, really, guy?
Just yell across the room, bullshit.
Yeah, essentially. So did you guys watch the Eternals trailer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gotta say, I'm not very excited.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
I'm not.
I have a feeling this is going to be like the beginning of Marvel with Iron Man. They're going to stretch it out over
Well,
15 years before you get to some ultimate fight with some ultimate bad guy.
the thing with it all is like this is like the start of that, and they're using unknown people, like not like the actors. I'm talking about the superheroes, right? A lot of this stuff is unknown, so this is all venturing into new space and new things and a bigger galaxy picture. So I don't think it's going to have quite the same amount of pull as it did with the original Marvel superheroes, because those were all well-known characters to begin with. But the thing with Eternals, they're these force-changing beings that go throughout the galaxy and move things in ways they want to. Are they going to be retconning the shit out of Infinity War?
I don't know.
I don't know. My wife had an interesting theory on it, though. Is that
What's your theory? I hear about your wife all the time. What's your theory?
in line with hers, but she's the one who brought it up first, so I'm giving her credit.
Good boy.
Is fuck you. But
Right, that's
that
more
the
whip
Eternals
than a
movie,
Frappuccino.
at least the first Eternal movie, is going to be used almost as a recap of everything that's happened in the MCU to that point, right? Catching everybody up and all that good shit. And that the subsequent movies for Eternals can be from another point of view of events that happened. You know what I mean?
I don't think they'll do that.
They should do this right and not make a movie now and then 5 years later make a movie that happened before the movie they're going to make. I think if they're going to do this, they need to do it in order.
I don't know. I think they're going to end up either retconning themselves or they're going to put some standard one-line phrase that they'll use a scapegoat, and a lot of movies do this, to explain everything. They didn't stop Thanos from destroying the galaxy that they're sworn to protect.
Because they already knew what the outcome was going to be.
Or they agreed, and now they disagree with Iron Man's snap. So now their job is to fix what Thanos actually fixed.
I mean, that would actually be a very interesting concept. If they were like,
that would
no.
make them not heroes.
True.
Well, the Eternals were never actually heroes, though.
They're not heroes. They're not bad guys. They're just cosmic shapers.
You know, now that I think about it, that would be very interesting if they did something along those lines, and that's how T'Challa dies in the MCU.
I don't know.
Because they're going to have to figure out a way to do that, right? Because they said they weren't going to recast Black Panther.
No.
So, but that would be an interesting, like, twist that nobody kind of sees coming.
What they need to do is, like I said, start from the beginning. How the Eternals became the Eternals.
I think that's what they do, because you look at it, it's going to span thousands of years.
Or at least that's what the
Well,
trailer
that's
looks.
good.
Yeah. It was in the synopsis and everything.
Well, they're going to also have to have some other characters in there if they're going to do that. Some other characters have already been portrayed on screen.
Yes, depending on where they are in that timeline.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to avoid that, they're in shaping this other galaxy.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well,
You know?
wait, if I remember correctly, aren't the Eternals... Maybe I'm mixing this up. But aren't the Eternals, like, not immune? That's not the right word. But all the other timelines, like, they are... There's only one version of the Eternals amongst all the other timelines.
I honestly don't know that.
Because I feel like what could be interesting is if they also found a way to merge all the other timelines back into being one, because they are the only constant that is... Like, you have...
But they're
DC did that, too.
But
Well,
they're
like, you
not
have
the
certain-
only constant. There's also the other ones that made them.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
you have examples like Wanda, right? Scarlet Witch. She's an example of... Fuck, what's the name? I'm blanking.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, but what's the name of the type of being she is?
A witch?
Sweet Jesus. I don't remember the name of it, but, like, they're a constant throughout all the timelines is that character is always this type of character.
I know what you're talking about,
I don't
yeah.
remember the name, but it is still different versions of herself in those timelines. I thought the Eternals were one of those things where, regardless of the timeline, the same consciousness is there.
I think they're outside of the realm
Yeah, they're outside of
of
the restraints of it.
multiverse.
Yeah,
I don't think they're in one verse in each one. I think they're outside of all that.
yeah. That's what I mean. Like, they are that one consciousness.
They
that
can travel
sees all of them.
independently through the multiverse.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it all. I'd hate to see all those movies be retcon like the Star Wars projects and going against all that.
What if that was the one timeline that Doctor Strange saw where they would actually win? Was the one timeline where the Eternals actually...
And you could do something like that.
I
Like,
bet that's going to come into play.
Like that's
I could
Yeah.
100% see
between
that.
everything.
That was the one time the Eternals would break their rule and actually interfere.
one of the Eternals like went to Doctor Strange when he was doing the looking, told him what needs to happen.
Or, like, during the final battle, like, the Eternals are invisible and they, like, you know, influenced the battle one way or the other. I could see them doing something like that, too.
I wouldn't want to see that. I
I
wouldn't want
wouldn't
to
either,
see
but I could see it.
anything that's been done already. Like, I wouldn't want them to go back, be there during the battle, because I don't want to spend X amount of dollars on a movie ticket to go see the battle again. I want to see, even if it's
Or
from a different point
influencing
of
the
view.
things leading up to it, like how they all magically
I don't want to
appeared
see
after
any of that.
Or maybe you see them float up in their little ship above Thanos,
Just-
invisible, and they're just sitting there
Just
watching.
eating popcorn, like,
Yeah.
pretty good.
Like a
This is
Michael
a- this is a
Jackson.
good- this is a
Like,
pretty
I'm here
good
for the
fight.
comments.
This is a good fight. Oh, there it is. There it is, right there. Here, watch. And they're just sitting there like, watch. Here it comes. All right, good.
Tony Stark's snap doesn't happen. They're like, shit, we're in the wrong timeline. We need to go one more to the right.
Yeah. They're going against the grain when it comes to the old comics, but, you know, this is a whole new universe, and they're branching out to what we don't know. And granted, there's probably like 5 or 6 comic book fans have only ever read Eternals, and then you'll have everybody else that lies about it leading up to the movie.
Well, I will go on the record right now and not lie and say I have no clue what anybody's talking about.
And that can apply to any conversation we've ever had.
Yeah.
You know, unless it has to do with magic.
right?
No.
Yeah, you do. You've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Okay.
Star-Lord's father,
Kurt
Okay.
Russell.
Ego, Kurt Russell, was a Celestial.
Okay.
They created the Eternals.
Okay.
So, yeah, you do.
There you
That's
go.
the extent of my knowledge.
They created the universe, and then they created the Eternals.
There's another movie. Have you seen Wilkinson's versus the Robots?
No.
It's a cartoon on
I
Netflix.
I see it on the TV. I just haven't sat down
Well,
and
okay,
watched
you mean
it.
the Mitchells or whatever?
Mitchell, I think
It's
it
the
is.
new one?
Yeah.
I
I have no
not
idea what
seen
you're
it.
talking about.
Yeah, it's a cartoon. It is written fucking phenomenally. That is a well-written movie. And it's really, really funny and really, really good. I highly suggest you watch it.
I have to check it out.
Yeah.
It's in my watch list.
Yeah, it's definitely really good.
Why don't we just watch it in the shop this weekend? Unless
I'm
you don't
down.
want to see it again.
I will see it again. I've seen it like 3 times.
Nice.
Yeah, so since there's nothing out in town, why don't we just chill here tomorrow and just watch it in the shop?
I don't know about you. I want
See
to go
you.
see the Buddy Holly Museum.
Yes, that is my goal tomorrow.
Well, that can be in the afternoon, but when
I'll
we get
actually
back.
go to that one. That sounds good.
Do you even know who Buddy Holly is?
No.
Okay. Isn't that the guys from Weezer? Didn't they sing about him? All right.
What would you say is the best written superhero movie?
Best written superhero movie?
Well, because
I
you
don't
start a
know.
lot of your conversations with, well, as a writer, I have an appreciation for scripts and blah, 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 blah. So,
I mean,
what would you say is the best written one?
What genre? Like what? Marvel, DC.
Yeah. You
Dark
didn't specify.
Horse.
I would like to say Marvel or DC, but I think Marvel obviously has more movies. Probably a better launching point.
Well, if you just go
The answer would be
superhero
DC
movies,
anyway.
gosh, you'd
The best written movie by a comic is The Joker.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
a comic book movie that's written well, yeah, Joker, definitely,
Yeah.
hands down.
What about Marvel?
Yeesh. I mean, they're all written the same.
I think the first Avengers movie was probably the best.
It's really well written.
I would go probably towards the beginning. I'd have to say Iron Man 1, written the best, and that's not having. I actually haven't read that script, but it was directed the best.
No, and I think those are two different things, though.
Yeah, well, it's completely different because you can take a good script and just demolish it, or you can take a shitty script and make it into something with good direction.
Like Justice League.
I'm gonna get off watch here. Our
Yeah.
Leafs are here. They've been sitting there standing, looking at us like a bunch of idiots. They're the idiots.
Hey
not
guys.
us. Let's go watch that robot movie.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then Buddy Holly Museum tomorrow.
Yeah.
Later, guys.
Later.
Bye.
As always, thanks for listening. If you're enjoying the show, please go and rate a review. It really does help the show out. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at UNAS Midwatch Podcast or Twitter at UNAS Midwatch. Leave us a message or a word that Drew has to look up. CMG Doom, played by Robert Williams. Holy Petty Soldier, Chris Pike, played by Christopher Sharp. Second Sergeant Drew Scrolls, played by Andrew Mingione. Second Sergeant Leon, played by Chris Short. Logo created by Natascha Mingione. Music owned by James Clifford, created by Ian Host and Ride Free. Thank you for listening to UMass Midwatch.